Good Sunday morning, my people. Bobby Hesley coming to you live from Royal Oak, Michigan. Getting ready to go on my, well, not getting ready. I've been on my Sunday morning walk. Just thought I would make a little impromptu, off the top of my head message for all of my people. You know, guys, I brought an addiction back with me from Thailand that I picked up over there. Thank God I didn't pick up COVID. But one thing I did pick up is walk-itis. I'm just addicted to walking, guys. I really, really loved walking in Thailand. And that was kind of the, it was kind of the birth of my, I don't know, platform, channel, whatever you want to call it. I just started doing these walk and talk videos. Lots of what was going on in the world at the time. And I just realized when I was out on my Sunday walk today that, you know what? I haven't done a walk and talk video yet now that I'm back home, now that I'm back in Michigan. I'd say probably the closest I came to doing a walk and talk was about 6 weeks ago when I confronted some Black Lives Matter protesters during the Woodward Dream Cruise on 11 Mile and Woodward, which funnily enough, I'm actually on 11 Mile right now headed towards Woodward. It's part of my little route. See this? 11 Mile and Main Street I'm on right now. But, by the way, the Indiana Jones hat, it has nothing to do with fashion. It has nothing to do with looking good or bad. It's actually a little health hack that I learned in Thailand. It prevents the sun from beating down on my head. This thing really, really came in handy when I was in Thailand. It saved me from many a heat stroke. It was really hot over there. I actually had 2 of these. You guys know how much this costed? This cost 300 baht in Thailand. This one hat was 300 baht. You know how much 300 baht is, guys? It's about $9 US. Little safety tip, little wealth tip for you. If you ever want to build wealth quickly and you're able to do it, live abroad in a country that has an unstable currency, and you can live like a king there. You could save so much money. A penny saved is a penny earned, Benjamin Franklin said. I estimate I saved at least 10 grand while I was over in Thailand, at least. I canceled all my insurance. I canceled so much stuff before I went. And in the 7-8 months I was there, I saved a ton of money. So that's just a little tip for you. So, what's the aim of this video today? Thank you, Norman. You're a good human too, brother. It takes one to know one. It really does. I'm gonna have to switch hands here because my shoulder's dying right now. Am I upside down? Hopefully I'm not upside down. Oh shoot, I can't turn my phone while I'm recording. Okay. So anyway, better be mindful of the street here. So, what's the message of this video today on this beautiful Sunday morning, this beautiful Michigan Sunday morning? It's more of a question than it is a statement. I kind of like doing my question for reflection posts. And I've got a question for reflection for you. And really, it's more of a question for reflection for all of my black friends. I mean, it doesn't matter what race you are. I hate the feeling that I play the race card all the time, but everybody's talking about the black struggle in America right now. Everybody's talking about blacks right now. Everybody's talking about how Black Lives Matter right now. So that's what I got to talk about. I got to meet people where they're at. I would prefer to talk about all lives, which I know is a controversial thing to say. That got a mother of 3 killed in Indiana for saying that all lives matter, but I will play along. So, to my black friends that tend to vote more on the Democrat side of things, on the liberal side of things, I want to ask you a question. Are you a slave to the opinions of others? The reason why I'm asking this question, and this is not to start a debate. I'm not trying to troll you guys. I really want to have a dialogue, and I really hope I get some feedback and some input from many of my black friends that are watching this, that vote Democrat. I'm getting ready to go under a bridge. I hope I don't lose you guys going under this bridge. But, and I would like to ask everybody to keep everything respectful on both sides. Don't troll anybody who comments. Let's just keep it respectful. Let's have a dialogue, okay? So, to my black friends, are you a slave to the opinions of others? What do I mean by that? The reason I'm asking this question, guys, is because I've been doing a lot of work with the Trump campaign. I work officially with Black Voices for Trump, which is the official Trump campaign outreach in the inner city in Detroit. It's endorsed by President Trump. It's literally his marketing arm in Detroit, okay? Shout out to all my Black Voices for Trump peeps that might be watching. Linda Lee Tarver, Ty Bundy, Sean Mazinski. Love you guys. And when I do outreach, when I go to different events, I'm getting pretty educated. I'm getting very enlightened because you guys would not believe the amount of Black support that President Donald Trump has. I'm not kidding you guys. There are so many Black people who support President Donald Trump. And I think the Democrats are in for a very, very rude awakening on the morning of November 4th, the morning after the election on November 3rd, because he's got a lot of quiet support, guys, I'm telling you. He got 8% of the Black vote back in 2016 when he beat Hillary. I was at a recent Black Voices for Trump headquarters strategy meeting, and Linda Lee Tarver was telling us, based on polls, that if the election were to be held today, right now, this day, right now, with everything going on, the Breonna Taylor stuff going on, the post-George Floyd unrest going on, all the racial division, everything that's going on in the country right now, guys, if the election were to be held today, President Donald J. Trump would get 14% of the Black vote. You heard me right, 14%, guys. That's up 6% from 2016. Now, why has his support among Black Americans almost doubled since the election? I'll tell you exactly why. Because Donald Trump has had 4 years to prove that he's a man of his word. I'll link below about everything that Trump has done. I think that he has more than delivered on all his promises that he made to the Black community. And the reason for my question, guys, you know, from my Black friends, are you afraid? Are you a slave of the opinions of others? Is because when I talk to these Blacks that have the support for Trump, I ask them, why are you so quiet about it? You know, why don't you join us? Why don't you do some outreach with us? How come you don't post on social media? And you know what they all tell me, guys? Because they don't want to be ostracized. They don't want to be shunned by their own community because they know that that's what will happen. And I'm sad to say that is what will happen. I have had people on Facebook that I thought were friends. Maybe they still are. But my hat looks weird when the wind blows. I have had Black friends unfriend me on Facebook because of my support for President Trump. They have. And listen, we're human beings. We all want to be liked. Who doesn't want to be liked? Right? I mean, if I had to choose between liked and being disliked, of course I would choose to be liked. Of course I would rather be popular than unpopular. But the fact is, and sorry for the wind, guys, hopefully you can hear me. But the fact is, if you support President Trump, you're going to be very unpopular. But embrace the popularity. Don't fear the opinions of others. I truly believe that 2020, and you guys heard this phrase first on Bobby Hesley's Facebook or whatever you want to call it. I've seen the emergence of a new underground railroad in 2020. I believe that there is a Black underground railroad that is going on in America of all these underground Republican supporters. Because if you guys remember, during the times of slavery, the only people that had our backs were the Republicans. They were. With the Emancipation Proclamation. People don't realize the pioneers of the Republican Party, the founding members of the Republican Party were Black men. The Republican Party is the party of abolition. But here's the problem. Back then, we didn't have any rights. We didn't even have a right to be free. We were slaves. So it doesn't matter how much we wanted to abolish slavery. We were too Black to be able to do anything about it. So we had to find a white man who had enough influence and who had enough courage that was willing to step forward and risk his life, limbs, and mental health in order to stand up for us Black slaves and free us. And this white man's name was Abraham Lincoln, the very first president of the GOP, the Grand Old Party, the Republican Party. And as we all know, and I'm sorry to say, It ended up costing President Lincoln his life. He got assassinated at Ford Theater, shot point blank in the back of the head. Why? Because of his love for black people. The first Republican president was a martyr for black people. So obviously, to put it mildly, it's very unpopular to support President Trump and to be a Republican and to be an outspoken Republican. But to all of my black friends that are watching this, that maybe you have voted Democrat your whole life, maybe you've been told that the only option that you have is to vote Democrat, that the Republican Party doesn't care about you, that the Republican Party is racist, that the Democrats are the only ones that are down for the struggle, that care about the black man, that they're the friend of the Negro. I want to tell you folks, there are so many black people out there that I'm encountering that are extremely disenfranchised by the Democrat Party. You guys wouldn't believe it. They feel abandoned by the Democrats. They feel taken for granted by the Democrats. They feel used. They feel forgotten. They don't like a lot of the words coming out of the mouth of their nominee that they put up ahead, that you ain't black if you don't support them, that, you know, that poor kids, are just as talented as white kids. You know, I mean, just the horrible things that come out of the mouth of Joe Biden. And you guys don't think that black people hear that and are affected by that and are offended by that? I'm a black person that's affected and offended by that. But a lot of them are not speaking out because they don't want to be ostracized. And this is where I want to get the discussion going. I believe, this is my theory, this is my opinion. I want to put that disclaimer out there. It's my opinion, it's not a fact. It's just my theory, okay? But I believe, well, this is a fact. The black community overall, and this is a observation, not a judgment, okay? I'm not talking down on black people. I'm not dissing my own community. I'm simply stating a fact that most of you would probably agree with, whichever side of the political spectrum you fall on. Whether you're liberal, conservative, Republican, or Democrat, you will agree with what I'm about to say. And this is a sad fact that we at the Trump campaign in the Detroit headquarters are working very hard to change. And the fact is this: overall, the black community is a matriarchal community. It is. Unfortunately, and the statistics bear this out, that the single black mother rules the black community. The single black mother is the queen of the black community. Now, this is not a knock on single black mothers. I was born and raised under a single mother. I think single mothers are strong and courageous to do what they do. I wish that they would make better decisions with the men that they lay with so that they don't get impregnated by a guy that's going to cut and run. But that's a topic for a whole nother video. But I believe that also goes back to them not having a strong father in their lives when they grow up. Okay. But I believe that overall, the black community is matriarchal, which means that whether you're a man or a woman, but especially if you're a man, and this really affects men negatively, is that when you're only raised under a feminine influence, when all you know are the feminine emotions of a woman, and that's all you've been raised by, and that's pretty much the only influence that's been in your life, that's the influence that you've been surrounded by pretty much 24/7 when you were in your formative years, you're going to grow up a very emotional person. Because let's face it, guys, women operate on emotions and men operate on logic. That's just a fact. Men and women are different, and that's how God made us different. That's a good thing, actually, guys. I'm not being sexist. I'm actually stating biology and human nature. God designed it to where women are gifted with more empathy because they need that for child rearing. They need to be emotional creatures because in the beginning, every human being, whether they're a boy or a girl, they need the emotional empathy of the mother that they were in their womb for 9 months. It's a fact, guys, that a baby's brain continues to develop after they've been born. And studies have been done on babies that were sent to daycare as opposed to babies who stayed at home with their mothers. And the babies who stayed at home with their mothers, their brains had better development than the babies that were sent to daycare. Now, again, I'm not knocking families who are forced to be dual income and they have no choice. I'm not knocking that. And I actually learned about that statistic from Dr. Laura Schlesinger, who is a woman psychologist, by the way. It's not some male chauvinist pig who made up that statistic. I'm not spewing patriarchy propaganda saying that. I learned that from a woman, okay? But the fact is, when you grow up under a single mother, you're growing up with a creature, with a being, with a human who operates on 80% emotion and 20% logic. Men, we operate, I would say, on 80% logic, 20% emotion. And again, that's how God made it. That's how God designed it. So when all you have is an emotional influence, you're going to have an inability to think logically when your emotions get triggered. That's just a fact, guys. Now, what is the most triggering topic that you could bring up with pretty much anybody? Religion or politics, right? Haven't you always heard the phrase, you don't, never talk about religion and politics? Why is that? Because it's so triggering for people. But I've never heard a logical person say that. Most of the people that are opposed to talking about religion and politics, where it's so taboo, those are usually people that run on emotions, that don't know how to logically process arguments that they're presented with, contrary opinions that they encounter. Because that's that's what women do. I mean, come on, ladies, you know that. You guys are way more emotional than us. That's a good thing. So I encounter lots of black men that I try to have dialogues with, and they get very emotional. They resort to ad hominem attacks, which is Latin for on demand. They resort to personal attacks. They try to give me these, they try to peek into my heart. They try to question my motives for why I'm supporting Trump. They accuse me of being part of the coon squad, that I'm cooning, that I'm doing it for the popularity. Guys, do you really think if I wanted to be popular that I would be promoting Donald Trump? Just think about that for a second. If popularity is my goal, I would be supporting Joe Biden like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just did. I'm really disappointed in The Rock. I grew up on that guy, watching him fight Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H and Undertaker. And as good as America has been to him, as much as the American dream has been realized with him, he even named his production company $7 Production Company because he had $7 in his pocket when he decided that he didn't want to be broke anymore. And the thanks that he gives to America is supporting Joe Biden. Why? Because he's a Hollywood actor and he wants to be popular. The only way that you can make it in Hollywood is if you're popular. You got to be liked by everybody or they're not going to go see your movie. So of course it's hip and cool to endorse Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, even though they are the worst thing that could ever happen to black people, not based on the future, not based on potentiality, but based on the actuality of the past, of everything they have done to hurt black people. With the 94 crime bill, with Kamala Harris sending black men to jail that she had evidence that they were innocent, and yet she still prosecuted them knowing that they were innocent. Kamala Harris has incarcerated so many of our black men, so many of them. By the way, guys, let me take a quick break. Anybody recognize this corner? Here's the corner of 11 Mile and Woodward, where I made some Black Lives Matter protesters famous, coming all the way out to Royal Oak. The Woodward Dream Cruise was going on here, and right on this strip here, they were all holding their Black Lives Matter signs. You guys remember this? You guys remember this? The video's up to 500,000 views now. And, with the gift of hindsight, I wish I could have gone back. And you know how when you have a conversation or a debate with somebody, you always look back and say, oh man, I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have said that. Why didn't I say this or that? You know what I wish I would have said to these white Black Lives Matter protesters that were on the corner here of 11 Mile and Woodward, that I was trolling and tormenting for a straight 18 minutes nonstop? I wish I could have said to them, because if you guys go back and watch the video, you'll notice that I kind of baited them. I said, hey, Black Lives Matter, right? Oh, yeah, Black Lives Matter. And the guy even said, join us. He actually invited me to join them to hold up their signs. So at first they thought I was their friend. And then I started asking them, do you believe in white privilege? Oh, yeah, we believe in white privilege. And they took the bait and I laid into them. But you know what I wish I would have said to those Black Lives Matter people that were standing right here? I wish I would have said to them, guys, I will join you. I will put on one of your Black Lives Matter shirts. I will put on one of your Black Lives Matter hats and I'll stand out here with you all day. But I have one condition. The only condition is, the only thing that I ask is that you keep those shirts on, you keep those BLM shirts on, you keep those BLM hats on, give me one, make sure the shirt is at least 3X, because I'm not the smallest guy in the world, as you can see. And I will stand out here with you. All I ask is that we move about 5 miles south. Let's stay on Woodward. Okay? Let's stay on Woodward, but let's just go 5 miles south down to 6 Mile in Woodward. And let's see how much Black Lives Matter to you then. Because why are you standing out here on 11 Mile in Woodward, far away from the hood, where all the people that you act like they're Black Lives Matter are, that are being killed? That's what I wish I would have said to them. That video could have been a lot shorter had I said that, but this is where it all started, folks. And I guarantee you, they would have not taken me up on that offer. They would not have wanted to stay on Woodward and move 5 miles south back that way towards 6 Mile in Woodward, where it's real, where it gets really real. And that's how I feel on a macro scale about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because I work with the Detroit Trump headquarters in Detroit, and Joe Biden does not have an office in Detroit because he stays a safe distance away from where all the real stuff is happening in the hood. So my black friends, are you a slave to the opinions of others? Are you afraid what others will think of you if you support President Trump? Are you afraid of losing friends? Are you afraid of falling out with siblings because you supported Donald Trump? Be honest with yourself. And don't listen to the lies and the narratives and all the propaganda that the Democrat Party likes to tell you, that the Republicans are racist, the Republicans are this or that. What if they're the ones saying that because they know that they are? Why is it that Donald Trump is the first and only president in American history to designate the KKK as a terrorist organization? Why did that take so long, huh? Why didn't Barack Hussein Obama, our first black president, designate the KKK as a terrorist organization? He had 2 terms to do that, and why didn't he do it? Why is it that Black Lives Matter started on Obama's dime back in 2012? Trump wasn't president back when Black Lives Matter started. Trump wasn't president when Trayvon Martin was killed. Trump wasn't president when Michael Brown was killed, when Eric Garner was killed, when Philando Castile was killed, Alton Sterling was killed. Okay? Trump was not president back when those things happened. Obama was. All that stuff started on his dime, guys, on Obama's dime, not on Trump. And then Trump came in, and he's cleaning up all that mess. He's cleaning it all up, guys. $500 billion he has earmarked to the black community to help black businesses develop. Donald J. Trump is the best friend of the Negro. Donald J. Trump is the best friend of the black fetus. If you care about fetuses of color, do not vote for Biden and Harris, because they are the worst enemy to the fetus of color. The most vulnerable blacks in our entire population are fetuses of color. They have no one to speak up for them. They have no one to defend and protect them. They do not have equal protection under the law. And that is why you should be celebrating the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett. That's why you should be celebrating that. Because Trump, hopefully, I'm praying, God willing, inshallah, as my Chaldean brothers and sisters would say, God willing, there will be some kind of court case that will challenge Planned Parenthood or challenge abortion, and we can get it overturned. So that way our fetuses of color can finally get the rights that they have deserved and that they have been deprived of for the last 60 years. By the way, I care about all fetuses. All fetuses matter. But again, folks, the reason why I'm singling out black people and black fetuses is because everybody's saying that Black Lives Matter. So if Black Lives Matter, let's talk about how Black Lives Matter. Let's see how much Black Lives matter. So to all of my secret Underground Railroad Trump supporters, come out with me, man. Come on out and play with me. I need your help. Sometimes I feel like a solitary pilgrim. I've got a few black friends, like my friend Ty Bundy, my friend Linda Lee Tarver, who works with the Trump campaign. She's based out of Lansing. I've got a few black allies. My Catholic black theologian friend, David Gray. David, if you're watching this, you know, Jason Pinckney, all my brothers in the Black Traditional Catholics Facebook group. I've got friends, but I also need some local friends here in Detroit to help me do some black outreach in Detroit, in the inner city Detroit, for black people, where Joe Biden refuses to come. And I see that as a travesty that Biden won't set foot here in Detroit, but I also see it as a great opportunity to infiltrate behind enemy lines and show our people, to show black people, to show black Detroiters how much Trump has their back. And all I got to do is bring facts with me. That's all I got to bring with me. Just bring some facts that they can't deny, but that are being denied to them because they are being persuaded and brainwashed and manipulated by the mainstream media. And we need people with courage who don't care what people think about them to come out and help me. Help me do some outreach, guys. To hell with what people think of you. Trump's only going to be here for another 4 years, God willing, if he gets elected. So if you have people who fall out with you for supporting Trump, okay, maybe they'll come around in 4 more years after Trump is gone, and maybe you guys can reconcile. But don't let that hold you back. Don't let it hold you back, guys. Come out and help me. Help the Republican Party continue its mission and legacy of liberating black people from racism, from different types of slavery, whether it's institutional slavery, economic slavery. The Republican Party is the party of blacks. And it's like I said in my promotional video for Black Voices for Trump, vote Republican because it is the blackest thing that you can do. It really is. The blackest thing that you can do is vote Republican. You are going old school. You are going back to your black American roots when you vote Republican. Because the Republican Party is FUBU 1.0. You guys remember that shoe brand FUBU? Well, the Republican Party is FUBU 1.0. FUBU stands for us, by us. The Republican Party was founded for us, by us, to abolish slavery in the Dixie Democrat, white racist South. And without our white brothers in the North, we would still be slaves. Think about it, folks. White people put an end to slavery and lost their lives over it. Everybody who has had a hand in liberating black people lost their lives over it. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in Ford Theater. I believe, and I know I'm donning my tinfoil conspiracy theory hat saying this, but I believe that JFK, who I believe was the last good Democrat president, if I was alive back in the 60s, I would have voted for Kennedy. Not just because he's Catholic, but I believe that Kennedy was assassinated because of his help with the civil rights movement. I do. His brother Bobby Kennedy was assassinated. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Malcolm X was assassinated. And it all happened in the 60s. And every single one of those people that was assassinated, JFK, Bobby Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of them had their hands in the civil rights cookie jar that were trying to help us black people secure our rights from racist Democrats. And they all ended up getting killed. So I want you guys to come out of hiding. Get out of that secret underground railroad you've been hiding under and come out and help me do some Black Trump outreach, okay? I love you guys. I want you to ponder that question for reflection. Just remember what Jesus said in the Gospels. He said, "Woe are you when men speak well of you." Who cares what people think? Forget about people's opinions. They don't matter. People's opinions ain't paying your bills. People's opinions ain't feeding you. They ain't putting clothes on your back. Nobody cares about you. I know that's harsh, but nobody cares about you. Why? Because they're too busy caring about themselves. They're too busy trying to survive themselves. So who cares what they care about you? And even if they did care about you, what are you going to do with that? It still ain't going to pay your bills. It still ain't going to put food on your table. So if it doesn't matter whether somebody cares about you or not, then just get out and start supporting Trump, man. Get out and start supporting Trump. Okay? And I know I brought up The Rock earlier, my disappointment with him, but one of his lines that I will never forget, and this is PG-13, guys, but I will never forget one of my favorite lines of The Rock back in his old WWF days is he said, "The Rock wipes a monkey's ass with what you think of him." That's what I want my Black Trump supporters to do. Who cares what people think of you? Remember what The Rock said. The Rock wipes a monkey's ass with what you think of him. So go find a monkey and help him out with what other people think of you. All right? I love you guys. God bless. Trump 2020. 4 more years. And I will see you at the Detroit Trump headquarters. Peace.